well above average. And we decided we'd live well. We never denied ourselves anything. It meant independence, so I could do what I wanted to do. And then I felt one way or another it would go back to society. Now, I thought my wife would outlive me. She was a little younger, and women live longer than men. And she loved the actual process of seeing people with problems that money would help. And I loved the game I was in. So I thought we would, basically we'd pile it up, and she would do the distribution of it. And she did a lot of it while she was alive, but the big money was going to be later on, and then she died while I was still alive, and then I had to make a decision as to the best way to get this money spent in an intelligent way, relatively promptly, and I came up with the idea of splitting among 5 foundations, the largest of which is the Gates Foundation. That was 4 years ago, and I couldn't be more pleased with the decision. I haven't denied myself anything. I mean, I eat everything I want. I travel every place I want.
Have you denied society something that the capital, if you keep employing it, might have done more good?
Well, Berkshire's still around. I'm still running it. I mean,
I'm not doing so bad.
I'm making it show for the charities, but I'm making it for a lot of other people too. So I didn't have to give up anything.
Sorry, I'm
I
watching
didn't have to give up what I love
something
doing every
else.
day. I didn't have to give up any material thing in the world.
Just do.
And my 3 children are each involved with a foundation, which lets them put money behind their energies. And no, I think it's really worked out wonderfully for me. I mean, it's been a perfect solution. And when my wife was pregnant, I didn't think I was going to deliver a baby. And if I get a toothache or something, I don't take out my own tooth. I turn it over. I follow Adam Smith's advice. I turn it over to a specialist. And there's no reason to think that because I'm good at making money, that I would be the best necessarily at distributing it. I want certain goals in terms of how it's distributed, but I'm perfectly willing to turn it over to people who are going to spend their lives specializing in that. I want them to get it done promptly, and I want it to be in sync with the kind of things I want to support. But I don't think I have to do it myself.
Now, in terms of that, many times the foundation gets set up, and
goes off in a different direction.
And there's a thing called Parkinson's Law, that an organization becomes self-centered, in for itself, and forgets its purpose that it was created for.
I see it all the time.
And you see it in business. That's why they go broke oftentimes. But in foundations, you see it. So you made a provision that was not going to happen with your funds.
Yeah.
They had to be those monies had to be employed within 10 years.
10 years after my state's completed, yeah, and the money has to all be spent. It can't go to institutions which in turn put it in their endowment or anything like that. I want people that I know and I know are in sync with me, and I know will be true to certain ideals. I want them to dispense it, because who the hell knows 50 years from now, when the place becomes some large institution, what will happen? People will rationalize then that what's good for the institution is exactly what old Warren thought 40 years ago on his deathbed. So I've seen that happen too often, foundations are not tested by a market system. I mean, if you've got a business idea, and he's got music, it's being tested by a market system. Whether people will make a decision with whether that next album is good, and they'll make a decision, on whether Coca-Cola still keeps them happy and all that sort of thing. A foundation has no market test, so it's very easy if there's not a market test, as people have found out in government and other places. It's very easy to start rationalizing things that are a long way from what originally people thought you were setting out to do.
And you were in terms of you're just beginning looking at charities, and you have a very unusual one, scholarship fund, Sean Carter Scholarship Fund. Describe it, and where do you think you see it going?
Yeah, for me, that the reason I focused on that, because such a small thing changed my life. Right, a 6th grade teacher said, "You know what? You're kind of smart," and I believed her. I said, "I'm smart," right? So she gave me that sort of opportunity. She sparked the idea in my mind. So that's why my first thing is the scholarship fund, because there are a ton of very intelligent kids that's coming out of these urban areas who can make it all the way if given the opportunity. And so it's a challenge that I gave to my mom, and my mom is so involved with it. Like she gets on the bus and she takes these kids to their to interview with colleges, and now we're starting to see kids graduate from college, and that sort of feeling, when it's real. I'm not just sitting home writing a check and for whatever reason to make myself feel good or anything like this. It's something that I really want to do, and I'm really into and excited about. So
it's effective philanthropy, in other words.
Right. I mean, and I'm seeing the results. I'm seeing, we're getting our first graduates from the Sean Carter Scholarship Program, which is, like, for me, the best thing ever.
And it seems like a contradiction. When you think of commerce, it's meeting the needs and wants of others. You provide the music, people like it. You do well, they get the pleasure. More on investment returns, good companies. And but yet in philanthropy, you think about it, it's almost the same opposite side of the same coin, meeting the needs and wants of others. A little different way of doing it. But again, as you say, it's not just writing a check. It's making sure it's actually delivering what it's supposed to deliver.
Right. It's tougher than business, too, Steve, because you're looking for easy things to do in business. I mean, you're looking, people like drinking Coca-Cola for 100 years, I'll probably like it for another 100 years. It doesn't require any great brain power to figure that kind of thing out. But in philanthropy, often you're tackling the tougher problems of society. You're tackling things where people have applied money and intelligence before and haven't really solved the problem. I mean, education's a great example.
That's why.
So you're really taking on things where you're not going to succeed every time. And if you like succeeding every time, it's, you know, you have to adjust to that. If you succeed 100% of the time in philanthropy, the projects are too easy, and you've got to look for things that are important and where you may fail. Right now, Gates is working on polio eradicating. They've got 99% of the way there, but the last 1% is very tough, and nobody knows for sure whether that will get done. You know, we did it with smallpox in the past, so it's a different mindset, and you don't get the same feedback you get in business either immediately.
That gets also to a universal thing, learning from mistakes. One of the things you do in your annual report, which has become a classic, is you will discuss what went wrong, like Dexter, and what you
And
learned,
how.
and what you learned from it.
Sure.
Tough to do.
Well, it's very important to recognize mistakes. I mean, if somebody goes around and says, you know, I never made a mistake, I mean, you quit listening to them. I mean, you know, they're in a dream world. So facing up to it, it's a little like, in terms of discussing issues, you should be able to discuss the other fellow's position just as well as you can discuss your own. So, I mean, that's part of thinking well, and certainly part of making good decisions in business is recognizing the poor decisions you've made and why they were poor, and that doesn't mean you never do the same thing. I mean, because sometimes it was a freak situation, but I have made lots of mistakes. I'm going to make more mistakes, but you know, Babe Ruth struck out a lot of times. I mean, it's the name of the game that you do it. You don't want to expect perfection in yourself. You want to strive to do your best, but it's too demanding to expect perfection in yourself, and it does some good to recognize them and not start trying to go around kidding people about them.
Getting the message out. You've done a very high-profile thing to get the message out on giving. Why, and where do you think it's going to lead? And then I want to ask Jay, very different audience, how do you get the message out on the importance of philanthropy, on helping people so they can have the opportunities you had?
Well, the way I got the message out was to get a copy of Forbes and look down that 400 list and start making phone calls.
Thank you.
And Bill Gates and Melinda did the same thing, and we've only called 80 or so people so far, and some of them I know, some of them I don't know. And amazing, we got way better reception. To some extent, we high-graded the mine, as they say in the mining business, so we picked people, in many cases, but not all cases, where we knew that they had pretty strong philanthropic interest. But it was very low-key, and we just asked them if they would give away at least half of their net worth, either during their lifetime or they'd be delighted. We've asked them to tell their own story, and the stories are fascinating. I mean, how people got to that decision, and how they evolved, how their family was involved in it, how maybe personal experiences had shaped that. But it was really very, very encouraging. I don't think you'd find that in any other society in the world other than the United States. We'll see how far it goes, but it will go further. But even if it only went as far as it's gone, it will have an impact.
So you think that even those who were giving are now affected in their minds upping it?
I think certainly in some cases, I know that's the case. And the very fact of getting involved and spending more time thinking about it, talking with your family more about it, I don't think it ever leads to reduced giving. I think sometimes it's an example of your less important. The real interesting thing will be is if it leads to smarter giving all the time. We hope to get this group together once a year and talk about, again, mistakes. But
do you see the same kind of entrepreneurship we see in commerce, in philanthropy? And there are a handful of large organizations, and except for Habitat for Humanity and a couple of others, they've been around for decades.
Yeah, there's some. It's harder to evaluate. It's not a market system.
Right.
I mean, you can't put out a P&L at the end of the year, and you can't measure things. You know, I don't believe in measuring quarterly results in business, but the timetable on many things is much longer in philanthropy. So it's not as easy a game to me as business, but it's an important game. And the fact that you can't do it perfectly does not mean that you should sit on the sidelines, and it does not mean you can't learn from other guys. I've already learned something from the 3 or 4 dinners we've had and talking to people, but the stories are interesting. People do things that are amazingly effective. They do things where they bomb for one reason or another. But we will have smarter philanthropy in this country 10 and 20 years from now, I think, than we have now. And I think in a small way this will contribute to it. So keep publishing the list so I can milk it.
JJ will soon be on it. But Jay, in terms of philanthropy, obviously you're very much focused on your business right now, as Warren was and is for a long time. But how do you get the message out to a different audience that it doesn't have to even be dollars, it's time? And what your teacher did, taking you and showing you another world, or your mother getting you emotionally with your father in a way in which you could move forward in your life and improve your life.
Yeah, I think the first step for us, because we, as far as entertainers, we're like the first generation to really capitalize off our talent. For many years, artists they were dying broke because the record company took advantage of them in some way, form, shape, or not. Right? This is like that really first generation. I mean, from where we're from. I'm not talking about the rock stars. I'm talking about vinyl. So the first thing for us, for me, I believe, is to lead by example and show how these things have an effect on people's lives in a real way, and to tell that story of this is the neighborhood that made me, and I know there's future generation of stars in this neighborhood as well that we must help out as well. If given the opportunity. What someone can be if given the opportunity. So my first thing is to show by example, and then I'm gonna slowly pull a guy like me and Puff made it. I think we could have done more. I think we could have visited and been there closer, but we've made a huge pledge to Katrina together. When we did that united front and we made a donation together, it showed hip hop that sort of power of how we can get together and do these sorts of things. So again, my first thing is to do it by example and show it how it works and show the example of how opportunity change people's lives, and we'll move forward from there.
And looking both forward and backwards, when you think of certain people of the past, like philanthropy, Andrew Carnegie, big steel man, first billionaire, but great public works, libraries. Warren, 50, 100 years from now, when people say Warren Buffett, what handful of words do you have come to mind?
They'll probably say Berkshire Hathaway. I hope it's still around and doing very well too. If it isn't, I'll come back and haunt him. What I've done has not been very complicated, or I followed somebody else's teachings. But what I really hope, if you could pick one word, it would be teacher. I mean, I got enormous amount. I mean, Jay has talked about his 6th grade teacher. I think almost anyone that's been successful has had a teacher. Maybe not a formal teacher. I mean, it can be a parent, obviously, but somebody's had a teacher that's affected them. And if you can pass that along, I think that's better than money, actually.
Jay? How?
Man,
because in some senses you're a pioneer.
Yeah, I think a lot is, I hope to inspire, like, I guess Obama took this thing already, but, just the hope of, how far we can make it, and the hope of, if you really apply yourself and stay true to who you are, how far you can come from where you come from, because my sort of success, I mean, where I'm from is like,
Jay is teaching all the time. I mean, he's teaching a lot bigger classroom than I'll ever teach, and it's important. I mean, they're going to learn from somebody. A young person growing up, and he's the guy to learn from.
So just the hope, you know, and hope.
I think that's crucial, especially as people begin to recognize, yes, you're a fantastic artist, but unlike artists of the past, you also knew how to take control of your destiny by learning about business, learning about distribution, all the innards of production, so that you weren't going to lose what you created.
Right.
Right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That guy almost died. Yeah, Yeah, This Foxfire slime emits a blue glow. Tree piano, leaf approaches. Violent seed. Oh, violet seed. Carrot. No. Just orange bearing resembles a foxtail. She. Some loud things happening there. 53,000. We know the town items are full. See if they will come. If they will come. Run! Run! Shit. That guy gonna die, Hoggy. Where's the army? That is the army. There they are. Walking along casually, saying, "Yep, that's right. You're gonna go walk your shit up." Come on, Honky. Come on. Go. kill him. Far out, it's taking a long time to kill him. Same with this one. Brum, brum, brum. Morning time. Let's go, everybody. Look at this guy patrolling. Okay, let's save it. Always get to save because it crashes easily. This game. Why? Don't want to die. Just crashes. Ay, ay, ay. Fuck is this guy doing? Doing? Worker. Oh, he's just idle. so this will be the end of this episode. Just a little bit more moving towards getting my castle built. Got my river here. Gonna extend that so it goes all the way here. Not sure I'm gonna do this. How I'm gonna do this? Might build up another thing. See if that one will cover that up. Still working on mastering how to do the water. But yeah, more to follow, guys. Catch you guys later. Hope you've enjoyed this stream. Leave a comment below what you think. Yeah. Catch you guys later. And we out. Bye.